Welcome back to another episode of the Partnernomics Show. Today I was joined by Jennifer Vazquez. Jennifer is a certified EOS implementer with a group out of Miami, Florida called The Profit Recipe. And Matt, I really enjoyed my conversation with Jennifer. I love whenever I get a chance to talk to other folks out there that are big into business books. I'm more of an audiobook kind of guy, but absolutely love kind of shredding through those. So Jennifer gave me a couple new books that I need to go dig into and kind of check out. But hey, she started some companies and sold to private equity. Certainly has a lot of lessons learned. And now she's been an EOS implementer for a number of years and became a believer in EOS after implementing it inside of her organization that she did a big growth job in and was able to successfully sell that to private equity. So kudos to her. But really enjoyed the conversation and I hope you get a lot out of it too. Here we go.
Welcome to the Partnernomics Show, where industry thought leaders discuss the hottest topics in partnerships, ecosystems, and innovation.
Welcome back to another episode of the Partnernomics Show. It's great to be with you today. Today we are joined by Jennifer Vazquez from Miami, hot Miami. Jennifer,
Yep.
how are things going?
Going great, fantastic. Enjoying the summer. Getting a little warm, but it's still bearable.
Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for carving out some time to share your insights with us. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So Jennifer is with her team, The Profit Recipe. So she is a certified EOS implementer and works with a team of other implementers. But they have a little bit of a unique approach that they take, the way that they team up with us. Jennifer, would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we're a group of implementers here in Miami. We call ourselves the Miami Cartel within the EOS community. And we just work together. We bounce ideas off of each other. We follow the EOS structure. We also have strategic partners that we refer to our clients that have been vetted, because most businesses are dealing with kind of like the same things. And we also provide like integrator, mastermind roundtables and additional free resources for our clients. And what we want is basically for our clients to gain traction faster and work with other companies and meet with other companies and bounce off ideas and other companies that are implementing EOS just like them. So we're working right now, our firm is working with like over 140 companies. So it's just additional resources that we provide for our clients. And we're not alone. We're working in a community ourselves here in Miami.
I love that, Jennifer. You're speaking my language, talking about partnerships and kind of having these resource networks, these ecosystems, and bringing in these additional resources that sound like they're more aligned to those clients that you guys have at the Profit Recipe. So super, super smart for doing that. Jennifer, so you'd mentioned that your entrepreneurial journey started when you were in your early to mid 20s. Tell us about that. Let's kind of back up and talk about Jennifer in her early to mid 20s and what were you experiencing and how did you kick off your career?
Okay, so I've been working actually since I was 14 years old, but I got into the big corporate world, if you will, for years. Left that, wasn't the best employee out there, and then I'm like, okay, I have to be on my own, and I became a real estate. I got into the real estate finance industry and also to the real estate investment industry. Did very, very well. Learned a lot. Busted as well, between 2007 and 8. Don't ask me why.
Rough time, huh?
Yeah, so it was kind of wild times for me. But what was very interesting is that during the bust, I pivoted to another business within the real estate finance business. I realized, okay, there's a need in the community. Now we got to shift and provide help to those in need. And I partnered up with an attorney, a friend of my father's. My dad had recently passed during that time as well. So it was very tough those years. And so I partnered up with him and another friend of mine, and we built an office in less than a year. We had over 30 team members. We had a legal team. We had a sales team. We had an operations team. We had over 1,000 clients in less than a year, and we helped a lot of people. which was very impactful. And we were very successful in the toughest years that I remember within our economy. Thereafter, I knew that wasn't going to last too long. So I said, okay, the next business I get into must be a necessity business. What's necessity? I figured, okay, the food industry, the childcare, everybody needs childcare. So I just, went head first and bought a operating childcare center. I had never been in the education business or industry at all. And I ended up owning 3 eventually. And then I sold to a private equity firm that when I sold, which I wasn't selling, they kind of approached me. It was after COVID. And when I sold, for me, it was very important to make sure that I sold to a company that was aligned with my culture, my core values, because my people were very important to me and leaving them in good hands. I had a team of like about 50 staff members at the time.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I've thought of a lot of different businesses to start. Partnernomics is business number 6 for me, but childcare has never been on the list. So
Yeah.
good for you. Good for you for doing that and for being
Yeah.
so successful, getting 3 different locations up and going and having private equity be interested in coming in and snatching them up from you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
congrats.
and each acquisition or each center or location that I acquired or bought has its own huge story wrapped around it because I really didn't have much money or credit because I had to go through bankruptcies. So the stories are just wild on how I manifested all 3 of them. Crazy.
So you're saying you got some skills. You got some skills under the hood.
I do. What is the school of hard knocks? I
I,
certainly do.
I love that. Well, Jennifer, how does EOS come into the picture?
Oh, that's a very good question. When I got my 3rd location, um, I had very fast growth, but my systems and processes didn't grow along with my business growth. So I was very stressed. I was wearing multiple hats. I was burning the candle on both ends. I was working 16-hour days. I wasn't dedicating much time to my family or to my daughter, rather, because I was a single mom. Wearing, just constantly putting out fires. And I said, there's no way that A, I can sustain this, or B, I can grow. And I wanted to continue growing, but I said, there's no way I can grow. I have to stop. I have to look what I have and improve what I have. And that's when I came across EOS. It was perfect for what I needed, implemented in my business. And it became very impactful for me, Mark, but not only for me, but for my team, for my entire team. My culture turned around. My people were very happy. My children, which were the most important thing to me, was my kids and the families, like the ripple effect of positive impact that EOS had in my life, in my team's life, in my kids' life, and beyond was so impactful. I also grew, I grew top line like about 40% since implementing EOS. My net profit grew 700%. My staff turnover decreased from 65% to less than 20, even through the COVID years, which is unheard of in that industry. So it was so impactful that I said, God, I took a sabbatical after I sold, traveled a little bit to India, to Spain. I took my daughter with me. We had amazing trips. And then I said, I still want to be a part of this and helping others do the same and experience the same success that I did.
Yeah, what an awesome story. But I hear that so many times. For your implementation, did you do a self-implementation or did you actually work with an implementer kind of traditionally to go through the process?
So I did both. I started on my own. And then I hired an implementer she was within the childcare community. She was part-time implementer and also part-time had her own childcare centers. So I worked with her for a bit, but I realized there was something missing for me when working with her because she just had so much going on. Brilliant woman, very brilliant woman. So then I decided to self-implement, which if I know then what I know now, I just would have hired the right implementer at the time because I implemented EOS, but I implemented it about maybe 45% properly. And it took me a lot longer to implement it had I had an implementer.
Yeah, I was wanting to kind of ask you that question. So, like, even you now, right, as an implementer and having conversations, I'm sure with business owners and executives, when they do a self-implementation versus working with an implementer, but you got to live that kind of firsthand, first person. I guess the question that I would ask is, what type of scenario situation would lend itself well to doing a self implementation?
Um, the only thing I can think of is financial. If you don't have the resources to hire an implementer, that's the only thing I can think of. However, when you don't have the resources, most of the time you're wearing multiple hats in your business. So it's implementing EOS is learning something new on top of everything that you're doing already. So it's kind of like a catch-22. But either way, the important thing is to start, just to
Yes.
start the process, whether it's self-implementing, whether it's using some of the tools, or whether it's hiring an implementer, at least start the process.
No question. As you mentioned, just from your daycare centers that you had, the massive improvements that you made financially, not only top line, but profitability, knocking out redundancies and costs and wastes and just becoming more efficient. I know I'm biased in this, but if you do it right, it pays for itself. And I think it does that, pretty quickly. So, Jennifer, I want to dig into some partnership questions. I feel like I get to cheat a little bit by chatting with you because you're already doing it and you already absolutely believe in it. But for the EOS framework and the EOS structure that's there, obviously us at Partnernomics, we are focused on helping companies stand up strategic partnership programs and kind of get this partnering motion going inside of their organization. But what's some things inside of the EOS framework that helps people or just kind of lends itself well to managing strategic partnerships?
So what comes to mind when you ask me that question, Mark, is alignment. First, there has to be alignment. What is the why of both organizations? Why do you exist? What do you want to achieve? And make sure that the two things are very aligned. Number one. Number two, when working with strategic partnerships, okay, so I read this really cool book that's called The Challenger Sale. I'm sure you've heard of it. If you haven't, a very good book. And it talks about solving issues. How can you solve issues? Not only sell a product to your client, right? But what do they really need help with? Try to dig in and find those things out and then make sure that you can provide those strategic partnerships. But most important, there must be alignment with vision, with why the companies exist and the services that they provide, and make sure that there's a need.
Yeah, I love that. So we talk about alignment in three areas: culture, strategy, and financials. And certainly if you don't have it in those three things, it's going to be really, really difficult to make this strategic relationship work. But I love that. You're absolutely spot on with alignment. Let's talk about one of my favorite topics, and that is scaling businesses. What's some of the insights that you could share with us, or maybe just after working with so many different entrepreneurs and business executives, what's some of those things that you share and kind of coach on to help companies scale or just kind of see when they're stuck and kind of help them get unstuck?
Well, I'm the type of person that I see the cup always half full, right? Getting stuck, right? Hitting the ceiling, I'm sure you know the term. Getting stuck and hitting the ceiling, I see it as such an opportunity. I think it's a great thing because that means that if you're able to break through the ceiling, you're just going to take your company to the next level. You're just going to have an evolvement. Your company's about to turn the corner and evolve to something much greater. So that's number one. Number two is you got to unlearn. What do you need to unlearn And what do you need to learn to take your company to the next level and break that ceiling and get unstuck? What are you willing to do and to get outside of your comfort zone? Do different, right? So there's this wonderful book that's called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And that's what comes to mind when talking with my teams of getting unstuck. For example, there's a delegation piece, right? Owners usually want to hold on to everything. There's no absolute way. Let's say the company Amazon. If Jeff Bezos would have held on to everything, he wouldn't have grown that company, right? And one thing that I always say is 80% good is good. It doesn't have to be 100%.
Don't wait
No
for
one's going to do it as
perfection,
good as
right?
you.
Yeah, if you wait for
Right? No one's
perfection, you'll
gonna,
never get there.
and no, exactly, bingo. And no one's going to do it as good as you, but 80% good is okay because it will spill over to other parts of the business that are going to improve as a whole.
Yeah. Just launch and embrace that 80%. But then also we're trying to improve that, right? And hopefully our employees that take over that, develop skills and we get that 80 up to 90, but then we're just ratcheting up. I mean, that is scaling, right? It's kind of these new S curves, as they say. You kind of plateau, you flatten out. But then I think EOS calls it letting go of the vine, being willing to let go, delegate and elevate, right? Let somebody else take that. And then the leader needs to go work on the next strategic piece of work to keep the organization moving forward.
100%. And not only the leader, but the leader needs to create leaders and teach them how to do it and encourage that behavior as well.
Yeah, totally love that. I had the great fortune of spending some time in the Marines, and we truly live by the motto of training your replacement. Fortunately, the Marines wasn't like corporate America, where we're trying to build our little kingdom and make sure that we stay on top. It's all about moving and changing. So you didn't have that piece, but you couldn't ever get promoted unless you had somebody there to do your job. So you're very incentivized to do that. And man, it's been a great philosophy, I guess, for me to follow throughout my career. But it just absolutely makes sense. I mean, that's how we can elevate the entire organizations.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for the service you gave to our country.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling that out. Jennifer, so when it comes to decision making, you kind of alluded to this earlier, but how can executives kind of prepare and nurture and cultivate teams, and even goes into trust, trusting them, again, this kind of is on that whole lane of scaling and growing. One of the things I commonly see is where, the CEOs, the executives, they want to be the decision makers and being in the middle of all of these different meeting conversations, plannings, those sorts of things. What's something, I guess, with either, kind of just decision making, but then also professional and personal development to grow and embracing that?
So let me see if I understand your question. Is how do leaders, how do they work together to improve on decision making?
Yes.
Okay. So back in the day, I used to make all the decisions, right? And everybody would constantly come to me like, what should I do here? What should I do there? So I had to unlearn how to do that and learn a different way or a better way. So I had to learn a true leader creates and builds other leaders. So I had to shift that, and I had to teach my team how to make decisions on their own, not to come to me for every decision. And when they would come to me, I would say to them, well, if you own this business, what would you do? They would come to me with the issue. I would throw the issue back at them, but I started empowering them to become leaders, not to be afraid. There was also guidelines as to how much the financial threshold for them to make a decision. Like if it's an error and it costs $500 or less than $500, then it's okay. Anything major has to go up the accountability chart. Number one. Number two, there's two tools in EOS that really help you do that. And one of them is the level 10 meeting. And within the level 10 meeting is the idea scene. And you as the leader, you got to bite your tongue and let your team come up with scenarios, with ideas, with solutions, even if you know the answer. But what you're doing is as a leader is you're teaching them how to do the same. If you don't allow that, they're going to continue coming to you. Hence, you can't delegate and elevate. Hence, you can't grow the company. So growing leaders, teaching them how to make decisions and allowing them the time and the space to make decisions. Also, level 10 meetings and IDSing and holding your tongue and speaking last.
Love that. Love that so much. Well, you mentioned a couple books there, so I got to throw one back at you. That is Extreme Ownership. I absolutely love that. And you'd mentioned, what would you do? Let's say you are the owner. And another popular thing that we used to say and share is, don't bring me problems, bring me potential solutions. If you are welcome to come and complain, but then I want you to also say, what do you think the potential solution is and why? And then we can.
Go ahead. Sorry. If you want to throw a funny twist to it, because I like a fun culture in my organization, it was part of our culture. And you can have a dollar jar for every question that you come to me. If you come to me with a question, it's going to cost you $1. And I taught them as well how to, and I share these ideas with my teams as well, with the companies, and it's fun.
Love that. So Jennifer, in EOS, or just in companies in general, right? We know what we should be doing. It's a lot easier to kind of sit back and kind of Monday morning quarterback this thing or whatever, but we kind of know the right things that we should be doing, but we don't necessarily always do them or execute the way that we should. And in a lot of ways, that's what a coach does and what an implementer does, kind of hold us accountable and help us on that execution piece. But how does EOS, or how does even working with an implementer, how does that help companies just really stay focused on execution and getting results?
Well, what EOS does, people and organizations, they tend to lose focus around the 90-day mark. So what EOS does is you have quarterly meetings with your implementer, and that helps you reset, reflect, but reset. And the tools for that is, having the quarterly meetings is setting brand new rocks. Is setting back brand new rocks and just getting that reset. When I was part of a mastermind group, I would meet every quarter, and it was very impactful. Even big corporations and public companies, they report every quarter, they reset every quarter. So definitely quarterly meetings, setting new rocks, and continuing using the tools and reflecting on during that process, what is the most important thing? What must I really focus on this next quarter that's going to take this company or even yourself to the next level?
Love that. I got to throw another book at you. The One Thing. Jay Papasan is a really, really, really good book. Him and Mr. Keller.
Let me see. So you told me 2 books, and I want to write them down because I have to be honest, I haven't read them. The One Thing. What's the other one that you mentioned?
Extreme Ownership. I'll send it to you in email. So make sure that you get it.
Thank you. One book that really helped me with delegation was the 1 Minute Manager with the monkey on the back. Super simple read, but it was so impactful. That book really helped me change to start empowering my team and to delegate.
Yeah. Jennifer, one last question before we let you go, and that is, I would like for you to talk to your 21-year-old self. What kind of advice would you give her as she's stepping into kind of her big career?
So the kind of advice that I would give myself at 21 is live in the present. It's okay to have a plan for the future, but slow down, live in the present, and you are enough. Many entrepreneurs struggle that we're not enough. And imagine by living the present, but also planning for the future, enjoying the present, planning for the future, knowing that I'm enough, I think I would have been a much better entrepreneur.
Great advice. And you are a great entrepreneur.
Okay, I would have been a happier entrepreneur.
Jennifer, thank you so much for carving out some time in your busy schedule to chat with us and to provide some insights. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you. I did as well. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for inviting me to your show.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of the Partnernomics Show. Don't forget to subscribe to get the newest episodes at thepartnernomicsshow.com.